All right, here we are. It's Thursday. Do we want to even say the date? It's October 12th.
Yes.
2017, and myself, Frank Soldato, and Adam Grundy here, reporting live from a cafe.
Yes, we I'd say have miscalculated the London Film Festival and its organisation.
Yes, and the popularity.
Do you know what? They have made a kick off this festival, and there's someone has just stolen a car. Oh no, they've just returned it.
I think it's a deleted scene from the film Biker Boys, or the film adaptation of Biker Mice from Mars.
Of course, yes.
So anyway, yeah. So I guess we should explain. We've both taken the day off of our normal jobs. Mm-hmm. We have normal jobs. We go to offices from 9 to 5. We do things to make money. Things that we may or may not be proud of.
Yes, much like prostitutes. But sometimes sex workers are kind of...
But they're not 9 to 5s, are they? They have more freedom than we do.
It's more like 9 till 5.
Maybe we should become prostitutes.
There's not really much kind of health coverage or anything like that.
No, I don't think I have health coverage where I work.
No, my boss laughed the other day when someone brought up, are there any company benefits?
So, I love that if that happened in an interview. Do you have any questions for us? Yeah, what are the benefits like?
The benefits is you're not on benefits, which is where I was going. Anyway, so we're at the London Film Festival. We've dipped out from our first screening of the day. We're trying to do 3 films today.
At least 3.
We watched The Endless on the other day.
Yeah, on Tuesday, 2 days ago. That was my first London Film Festival screening ever. Was it yours? I mean, you watched some of the shorts at home, but have you gone to any of the other films?
I think I've been to one, and that was a few years ago when I was a film student, and I thought, wow, I'll be in the film industry. And now look at me.
Here we are. Now we're press delegates for the London Film Festival. But yeah, so we're going to go see a couple of films today, and it started off today very early. We both woke up way earlier than we would have if we went to our 9 to 5 jobs to get down to central London so we could see the first film, which was The Killing of a Sacred Deer.
Yes.
And this is probably the one that it was the top 3 that I anticipated the most from this. I don't think I'm going to have a chance to see the other ones that were up there, but very, very excited to see it this morning, and I was very happy with the results.
Yeah, I was. I mean, it was. It's by the same guy who did The Lobster.
The Rock Lobster.
The Rock Lobster, yes, all about that lobster that chills on a...
Good old Yorgos. I mean, it's Greek, so it'll be a butchering of his name.
Go for the second name.
Yorgos Lanthimos.
I think you did a good enough job.
Yeah, I don't know what accent I put on it, but it definitely wasn't Greek.
No.
Obviously, he's done a couple other big films, that got him to the level of making The Lobster, like Dogtooth, which is one that I've still not seen. I think we were just talking about it. It's a very interesting one. Anyway, we're talking about The Killing of the Sacred Deer now.
Yes.
Which reteams him with Colin Farrell.
Yes.
Sticking around after the breakaway success of The Lobster. Maybe not mainstream success, but it was critically, and I mean, we both saw it. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, I always regretted the fact that I watched The Lobster when it was out of cinemas, and I think it was on Netflix when I watched it. And I always regretted not seeing that in the cinema and just rather than having everybody tell me it was good and then me being like, yeah, I can't be asked. Which we're both very guilty of that.
It's happened many times. I actually managed to see it. I think I saw it at the Prince Charles of all places, when and then randomly on a plane as well. So reteaming up with Colin Farrell. Out is Rachel Weisz. Get rid of her. Let's bring in Nicole Kidman. Let's bring in another pretty older woman with an accent that she'll cover up with a fake American accent.
For parts.
Parts
of it was back to Australia.
Yeah, there were all of them. I felt even the was it the main kid.
Yeah.
When he would say father, he turned a bit Irish.
But I could kind of see that as more of like emulating the Colin Farrell.
But why does Colin Farrell get to keep his accent and everyone else has to... Even Nicole Kidman, who arguably has had a better career than Colin Farrell, yet Nicole Kidman has to be an American housewife, and Colin Farrell's just happy to be there, and it all...
Maybe it fits the stereotypes and the kind of archetypes, so you don't have to... You kind of know what the characters are before the kind of the plan before you go in. It's... I mean, I don't think we want to spoil the film too much, and I think we are going to do something more a little bit in depth.
A little bit. I guess we could say maybe the basic plot point, and this is from IMDb, so you get this. So Colin Farrell plays Stephen. He's a charismatic surgeon, and he has to make an unthinkable choice because his life starts to fall apart. And I guess that is, without spoiling anything, that's the basic.
It is, yeah.
But the way it all happens, and if you've seen The Lobster, you'll know that he's got a flair for this, old Yorgo, but like it's not in any way that is expected, nor is it even technically explained, but it's good.
Yeah.
And I said it to you when we came out of the film, it wasn't so much edge of my seat thrill ride than it was this impeding feeling of dread throughout the whole film.
Yeah.
That just kept me like really antsy. I was really nervous in my seat. There was a couple times that I squirmed. It's not a horror movie, but I liken it a bit to a suspense mixed with a horror movie. Like I felt uneasy at times.
Yeah.
There was one part toward the final act where I thought I might have to get up and go to the bathroom because I felt a bit ill. Because
it's the McDonald's breakfast.
Let's just say it involves some teeth.
Yeah.
And the sound design around it was so like this happened to me with 127 Hours when he's cutting off his arm, right? And then the sound design in that was like this bass and the sound of like almost piano wires snapping, and it was really loud and really visceral. And with the visual, it just made me really sick to my stomach. And in this film, it's not like that at all. But this part had a similar reaction from me, where the sound design mixed with what was happening on the screen, mixed with how the film has been built up to there, really, me with a little easy stomach, put me off a bit, but but it was a really good film. I couldn't I guess recommend it enough. Would be what I would say.
Well, like talking about the sound design, I actually thought that there was a quite intense scene at one point between Colin Farrell
and your lad,
young lad who's playing Martin, called Barry Keoghan. It looks Irish. That's probably why.
It's probably why it sounded Irish.
Yeah. And the sound design of it, I was just like, it ended up going into very like 50s kind of like, I guess 50s motive and stuff, or like 60s kind of Hitchcock or something like that kind of horror.
Yes.
That was just during a very intense scene. But speaking about the guy, I got kind of a lot of like, I know he looks like him, but it was kind of like we need to talk about Kevin kind of vibes from the younger actor in it. They kept a lot of mystery around him, and I kind of liken it, saying it to you, I kind of liken it to, like with The Lobster, they kind of leave just little breadcrumbs, and you kind of want to just know where the film's going so you can kind of accept and then go with it, but they don't. They just kind of a little bit, and they leave you thinking like what is going on, and how it's just shot is like, it's really, especially at the start, there's a lot of like open shots, or like shots where Colin Farrell and whoever he stood with is like, very small on screen and stuff, so you kind of get like he's kind of alienated himself.
There was a lot of dead space in a lot of the shots. Like the cinematography was really interesting like that. So there was a lot of close-ups with some like really sharp focus on characters' faces, but then there was a lot of shots where you'd see maybe a character sitting down from like the waist up, but then you'd see like 75% of the frame would be the room.
Yeah.
And I thought that was, sometimes you'd just look at that and you'd say, maybe this is just sloppy, maybe it's a bad DOP, but you could tell it was done with purpose and for a reason. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought it was it was just really well shot, really good. I mean, weirdly, they shot in Cincinnati, of all cities. So I knew it throughout the film, because at the very one of the first scenes, they're by the river, and you can see a baseball stadium in the background. I'm like, which city are they doing this in? And then I picked up that it was Cincinnati, and I was just like, that's a random city to make this film in. Must have some good tax breaks. But
I thought that, about like the tax breaks, but also there was like a building that had like arches in it, and I was like, man, where is this place?
Yeah,
like on top of it, I was really interested about where this was shot. And
where the hospital was quite good, because it and I think I saw that they thanked the University of Cincinnati, so they probably shot it at like the University of Cincinnati, and it overlooked like the entire city. So it was this ominous thing of like, here's this Institute of Health, but it's so far away from everything else. It's so far removed from everything else that there was again an eerie sense to it all. yeah, it was, and it's one of those films, I guess, that doesn't keep you thinking, because I don't think it's, it is there on the surface. I don't think there's a lot of, like, you don't want to go searching for clues, sort of like you said, because it's better to sort of go on the ride and accept what's happening. It's like if you're chasing a character and the character went around the corner, and then you went around the corner and there was no one there. Like, that's the kind of film this is.
Yeah, it's a bit like as literal as it can be, but like Don't Look Now, kind of like, there's very much, it's just, there's a looming presence, and I think a lot of that is, like I said, it's down to the sound design, down to how it's shot, but kind of not, if we speak more about like the characters and stuff, like Colin Farrell, everyone did well. Nicole Kidman, brilliant. Like, there's at times where you're just like, oh, it's Colin Farrell's the main guy because it's like The Lobster or whatever, but then Nicole Kidman kind of comes into her own, and it's good because when it kind of focuses on her, it goes away from Colin Farrell, and when you come back to him, you kind of like, you've now kind of not sided with her, but you've kind of seen things from her perspective and stuff, so it's very interesting because the film encourages you to kind of guess what kind of decisions are going to be made. If that's... We've done really well for not spoiling this film.
What do you make of, and this goes back to The Lobster a bit as well, how do you feel about the way that the characters deliver the dialogue? Because it's obviously a very interesting choice. It's a very stilted, and it's like a deliberate choice. It's very stilted, robotic, and there's glimpses of normality occasionally in the dialogue, but a lot of it is that same way you heard characters talk in The Lobster, very matter of fact, like they're reading it off the screen, like they're a robot. But it's something about, I mean, maybe it's because we're used to it now because of The Lobster. I found it a lot easier to take in. The first time you see The Lobster, it's a bit jarring. But with this, it made sense. And maybe it's something that he's carried on in his other work. Again, I wanted to take a look at Dogtooth and some of his older films, but it is a very interesting choice, especially when you get like good actors like Colin Farrell and Nicole Kidman and stuff doing their things. It's just
I think what it does is it kind of makes it, and in I guess people like Tarantino have kind of been accused of that in the past, is that it becomes more of like, okay, I'm aware I'm watching a film, but I don't see a problem in that. Sometimes you need something that's a very natural story that we can kind of all relate to. If you kind of don't treat that with like the respect you make it in more fantastical, it's kind of like kind of took me out of the realms of believability. But if it's something like this, which has very strange plot and a very out of the ordinary plot that like The Lobster did, it becomes kind of like a show. It becomes like a sort of a stage show. It's like just because like, do you ever watch Dogville or like Mandalay?
No.
A film where they have with Nicole Kidman, actually, it was in the first one, and instead of like the set or being shot in different locations, it's just shot like a theatre show. It's all one room, and all of the walls and all of the houses are like drawn on the floor. Right. So it's just actors pretending to be like in places.
Oh wait, no, I think you've shown me a clip of this. You or Luke or something. Like, you've definitely shown me this because I remember that.
But like we are totally aware that it's a film and it's not, and essentially it looks like a theatre piece, but it doesn't take away from the final delivery of things. And I think that's what it does with the dialogue in this, and with the kind of characters and very punchy, matter-of-factly kind of stuff. It doesn't take away from it, even though it's not. If you did that for every film, you'd be like, man, I'm sick of this.
Yeah.
But it's an unnatural plot, or it's kind of, there is a spookiness to it or whatever. Like you said, it's not horror, but it's kind of is. It's a thriller. It's more of a thriller, I guess, but because it's such a strange, it comes from a strange place, I think it lends well to it.
Yeah, that's a bit what I was going to say. It benefits because you pull back and you look at it on the surface, and it's a real world.
Yeah.
Like, there's a city, there's a house, there's a hospital, there are these characters, but then unnatural things happen, and the unnatural patterns of speech and stuff add to that. It adds to the feeling. It adds again to that sense of eeriness and that unnerving sense that you get throughout the film. It really helps to build that world, and also help separate it from our own reality, because you don't want to think things like this are happening in the real world.
But they might be.
We don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know. What we do know is we're running out of time. We've got another film to go catch.
Which film are we going to watch?
We are going to, I think, flip a coin while we're at the cinema, because there's a few films. So we'll get there. And
I think one of them is Life Imitation.
Life Imitation is The Lovers.
But I'm kind of more tempted now that you've been swayed by Life Imitation.
The thing that swayed me was it was a documentary, and it was about Shanghai youths. So it seemed interesting. Seemed like an interesting topic. I want to see what the youths are up to, but we'll see. We'll see what we're going to see, and we'll be back through the magic of editing.
Yes,
in a moment.
We watched Life of Pets 2, and imagine that was
Life of Pi 2, starring the characters from the Life of Pets.
Okay.
In a boat.
Ooh.
And it's a sequel to Noah's Ark. It's getting all the audiences
here. You just hit everything and achieve nothing.
And maybe will we be back at the Loud Cafe? Only time will tell.
Will we be brave enough to pull it out of the Picturehouse?
The recorder?
Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
We'll see. Surrounded by critics.
We're technically film critics, right?
Sure.
Yeah. Connoisseurs. Okay, bye-bye.
See you in a minute.
And now the boys are off to watch Life Imitation. Go to the Prince Charles Cinema website for tickets to the next film quiz, with prizes from Dark Bunny Tees, Vertigo Films, and more that they can't mention yet. Get spooky or get dying. Wear a costume. Trick or treat. It's all kicking off, and gone delete as a bag of treats. Booyah! Respect.
Okay, so we're back, aren't we?
We're actually in the Picturehouse now.
We're in the Picturehouse. That's why we're talking a bit quieter.
Yeah.
We don't want anybody to know what dirty things we're talking about.
It's very intimidating when you're just a small-time shit podcast and film quiz.
Well, don't shit in the podcast. That's what this is going in. When you're so massive of a podcast and one of the best film quizzes in the world, I think it's been said.
I mean,
I've said it.
Well, you've said it. I can't imagine like places like Cambodia have got a big film quiz kind of scene.
I bet you they've got some good ones, though.
Probably.
Yeah, but it's probably all about, like, Cambodian films.
But then it'd be perfect.
Yeah? What's a Cambodian film? Name one.
Can't.
I've got one. Cambodian Jaws.
Is that a real film?
Yeah, it's about Jaws in Cambodia.
Like the actual shark of Jaws, or is it more of a...
Well, it's like, Jaws was named Jaws, but it wasn't the name of the shark, nor was it really about the shark.
No, true.
It was about Brody. Whereas Cambodian Jaws is actually about the shark.
Right,
and it follows his day-to-day life.
Oh, so like gets up. Swims up.
Yeah, swims up, turns out of bed, hits what I'd imagine would be like a clam. Yeah. That's like his alarm.
It's a living.
And just goes and eats things for like 12 hours.
Might end up being like a bit like those sharks I imagine in Finding Nemo.
Okay, I thought you were going to go with Fishtail for a second.
Shark Tale.
Oh, Shark Tale, not Fishtail, yeah.
Fishtail.
Fishtail was, I think, like the rip-off DVD that came out.
Yeah, what's Shark Tale?
Shark Tale was Will Smith and Robert De Niro.
But he wasn't a shark.
Will Smith wasn't a shark.
No.
But Jack Black was a shark.
He was.
And Robert De Niro was a shark.
And who did the soundtrack?
Will Smith.
A bit of Will Smith. Christina and Missy Elliott. Missy Elliott appeared, obviously, as
Nelly,
jellyfish.
Which...
Nelly Fish could have been in it, but also...
But his tentacles were getting everywhere, weren't
they? They certainly are. This is maybe kind of a sign of what the film was like that we've just seen.
Yeah, so what did we see? We saw Life Imitation.
Life Imitation.
Now this was sort of on my recommendation. There was a couple of films.
I wouldn't throw it on. Don't jump on this grenade.
Well,
I'm telling you, listen, it's fine. I'm missing a leg, but it's fine.
Look, so we sort of knew. Obviously, we knew a lot about the first film we saw today.
Yes.
And I think we both know a bit going into the third film we'll see.
Yeah, the Florida Project,
yeah. But the second film was always a bit up in the air, and we didn't know what we were going to go for. So I'd read just like a one-line, two-line bit about Life Imitation, which was sort of a documentary, or at least what I thought was going to be a documentary about like the youth culture in China, in Shanghai specifically.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that interests me personally, and I thought it'd interest you if it was that. Because we're both sort of into Asian culture, I would say.
Well, I mean, and I imagined in my head it was going to be a lot more like something like a Vice documentary that they've been kind of knocking them out kind of thing, and it, a good cool like 55 minute, 60 minute kind of little documentary. I thought that would have been it, but it wasn't that.
It was not. I mean, we were again talking about it and saying with a documentary, you expect to learn something or to take something away.
Yeah.
And I didn't learn anything. There were a couple of brief bits. Like the beginning sort of hooked me in, and I was ready for it. It started with this long shot of a phone conversation via text message, and I was into it. But then it just slowly started to unravel.
I think
it was a bit more experimental.
Experimental.
Yeah.
And I think I want to make a point of trying to be positive
At first,
yes.
Yeah, let's be
positive
positive
thing
first.
Is that it was written, produced, shot.
Was it written?
Well, it was. Well,
it was.
It wasn't.
It was formed.
It was formed.
It was formed by a person.
All by one person, which was Zhu Shen.
Okay, sure.
And I think that in of itself is impressive. You know, anyone who can take who can see something from start to finish, have an idea in their mind, and maybe with this kind of film being able to be a bit more experimental, be a bit more not so rigid in what they have to do.
Yeah.
It was an experimental thing, but that's the glowing thing out of it. Negative.
It's a silver lining.
The silver lining of this playbook. There was no buffer for the microphone. It kept more.
I was going to say that was the experiment. Can I make a film without a windsock?
Yes. The answer is no.
Which, I've seen films before where, like documentaries, where that happens.
Yeah.
Because you're out there, you're running and gunning. You're not always going to have a thing, but it wasn't charming, and it didn't really add to it. It just made it seem lower quality.
And on the thing of you talking about the sort of the static phone conversation at the start, I'm all for that kind of thing. I'm really into that kind of format. Like there was a book, obviously Luke, who appears on the podcast sometimes. Sometimes.
Briefly. Fleeting moments.
We both sort of around about the same time, I think, read a book called, maybe it was just me actually, Train Man.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea of the book is that like it's all from like an internet forum, and it's a different way of reading it. You're basically just reading posts, and it's kind of like blog updates about this story that's developing and people kind of chipping in. And when it started, and it's quite a fun book, but that's when I kind of got that vibe when it started, and the whole idea, it kind of sets it up really well. It's like, I feel the person who's on the other end of the phone is kind of like saying how they feel like they're living a lie, and they're kind of putting up a front in certain situations that they're in, and that is reflected in the film at certain points, because it's like there's like footage from like Grand Theft Auto 5, and then there's
not just a little bit of footage.
There's a lot of footage, and
it's a lot.
I could have done with a little bit, because I'm like, okay, cool, yeah, we kind of we or whoever is or like Second Life is, or like basically Habbo Hotel was Club Penguin. Bryan Singer's part of the Club Penguin, actually. It was our digital lives can kind of be aren't actually who we are. It's kind of a reflection of who we want to be, and that's also kind of showed in the film. And there's like a sequence where a woman is like taking a little photo of herself, and she's constantly editing it, and she's obviously editing out what she deems as imperfections, even though there isn't really much there. It's just a photo of someone, but it's kind of like a projection of what you want to be. But the film is so fucking boring, and half the shit doesn't. It's like, oh, here's someone lying down for a bit. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, there were really long. I mean, again, if the cinematography's nice and it adds something to it, the long shots where not a lot happens are fine, especially in a documentary. Like that's not a new thing, but it felt very amateurish, and that could be fine. And this is what this whole thing, a film festival, is about. It's seeing new work from new talents, and no one's gonna have a massive film crew. And this guy probably just had a DSLR with a couple of lenses and a little top mic with nothing on it. But like, it just wasn't. It wasn't a lot, and like there were little bits that interested me. Like I said, I think the whole phone conversation, the text, that could have been. I could have followed that story.
Yeah, I was interested in that.
What was hard was when you bounced out to seeing little snippets of other people's stories. I didn't know if it was people involved in that text. Yeah. I had not even some of the language in the text, because obviously lost in translation. I didn't know who was referring to who sometimes. Like there was an interesting story there to be told. That I at one point I thought to myself, you can make a narrative story out of this, and take this whole text conversation and write some characters into it, and there you've got a film, an interesting film.
And even I actually really liked that phone thing, and if they kept that as a thing and then dip out to like, kind of like the secrets that we don't say out in public and stuff, it's like you can use that as your main. As the kind of the way the characters can kind of talk with a genuine thing, and then with the backdrop of China, maybe the whole thing like where you can't be yourself. And they did kind of, even though it's a bit more abstract, I really like the stuff about like them going to the club, because they mentioned like she's trans now and stuff, and it was like they went to this club and it was all like kind of like shot in the dark and stuff, and I really liked that because it was kind of like another level of sort of obscuring your true self in the dark and stuff, and like you could be who you want to be. So that kind of made sense, and I don't mind it being abstract if it relates back to the theme. But the problem is that there was just shots from like Grand Theft Auto 5 that made lick of sense. There was like, oh, someone's lying down. They were lying down in bed.
That's a dead body.
Then they were lying down on the ground, and I was like, now what? What did that tell me?
There were just all the little bits that I found interesting ended, or they dropped it really quick before I wanted it to stop. So, like, we see a glimpse of somebody lying in bed in their room, but like the room was like the kitchen as well. And it's like, that's what I thought the film was going to be. It was like examining these people's lives. So at the very beginning, there's two girls have a conversation. They're talking about, I live with my parents because I want to live in Shanghai, because there's no other way to live in Shanghai because I don't have the money, blah, 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 blah. And I thought, okay, this is where it's going to bounce off. We're going to follow these people's lives and see how they all have to live. And then it jumps to, here's this girl sleeping in bed, but the bed's in a kitchen, so already you've got that cramped China that you hear about, like cramped cities like Shanghai. But then it never went anywhere, and because we're never sort of explicitly introduced to the characters, you don't really know from one shot to the next, when it's not showing you a scene of Grand Theft Auto 5, who's who, and if that's someone we've seen before necessarily or not. I'd say it's just a bit disappointing based on the little summary that the film festival put out, the little thing, like the little synopsis. I thought I was getting something different, and maybe that's a bit the case, expecting one thing, getting another. I'm not terribly upset that I saw the film.
I would definitely watch another one done by the director.
Yeah.
Without a shadow of a doubt, I think that there was certain stuff in there that's like, here's a theme, and I even don't mind like a theme being introduced and it then just playing sort of a backdrop until a kind of conclusion, and then you go, oh yeah, it did mean about that. I don't mind that, like a slow burn or whatever, but I'll be honest, I was bored, and I don't. It was,
yeah. I mean,
that's when the bad thoughts come from.
I will say, it did make me appreciate the hard work that went into Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yes, what a great game.
What a great game.
I've never played it.
There's a whole world in there, isn't there?
Yeah, guys. Cheeseburger.
That's me. Thank you very much. Cheers.
Cheers, man.
Thank you.
So I guess we could stop.
Well, so, like Grand Theft Auto 5. They've got a whole wildlife system built into that.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see there's like seagulls flying around, there's bugs, there's tides.
Yeah.
Low tide, high tide, the tides coming in and out. That's impressive. Like, that is generally, the artistry and imagination that went into that game is really good.
But
so at the end of the day,
I was let down.
You're let down. So we'll hope. We're going to have our little lunch here. It just came. Adam's got some delicious looking chicken wings.
Yeah.
And I need to get some mayonnaise for my burger. But
that's the sound. This is from Foley.
We're going to eat our food, and then we're going to go watch a third film of the day, The Florida Project.
Yes, I'm looking forward to this.
And
if I see one shot of Grand Theft Auto 5, I'm gonna.
I really hope the character's playing it now.
I'm gonna cry.
All right, we will see you again in a bit.
Bye.
We find ourselves in the Glasshouse in Soho, where the Filmageddon crew have just got a few pints in, fired up the microphone, and are chatting about the Florida Project. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust, beer and films. The best of friends. Go subscribe to Filmageddon on YouTube. or death will come to your front door, and she won't knock twice.
So, Adam,
Frank,
here we are. We've just finished our third film of the day.
Yes.
3 films in one day.
And it was
That's got to be like a record, right? No one's ever done more than that.
I mean, even cinemas like the Prince Charles, they certainly don't show 7.
I mean, the people that go to the all-nighters, they don't stay awake for them all.
No.
And
I stayed awake fully for all these.
I did. There was about 5 minutes maybe in the second one for me.
I wished I was asleep.
I thought that you were at a couple of times. Because I kept looking over and you were like yawning. I was like, ooh. And then I just thought at the corner of my eye, I was like, I thought you nodded off for a second because your head sort of went down.
I was rolling my head because how bored I was. That's what, like, it was. Anyway, we've discussed that, and I don't want to ever speak of that film again.
I like how it's gone from a mild dislike to just a severe hatred of that film. But yeah, we don't have to talk about it. I think
the time has added onto it.
Yeah, and the fact that we just saw another winner.
That's the problem, is that, like you said in the other podcast, or the other little bit of this, is that we were like, is it going to be a shit sandwich?
Yeah.
And we had 2 slices of great bread.
Delicious bread, like sourdough, toasted, tasty. But that
middle was
we won't have to talk about. Because we can take that bread, and you know what? I quite like breads and carbs. I'm happy with just the bread. We'll forget about the shit.
I love bread.
We got the bread. And that the third film we saw even was The Florida Project.
It was with Willem Dafoe.
Willem Spider-Man Dafoe.
Yes, it was.
That is actually his middle name. It's not even Green Goblin or Harry Osborn.
Which would make sense.
No, that would make a lot more sense. But he, for some reason, decided to change it just to Spider-Man, and he's copywritten it.
Wow.
Yeah.
How?
Because he doesn't have the hyphen in it.
Okay.
So it's Willem Spider-Man Dafoe. Little known fact there. But so what happened in that film?
Well, I don't want to obviously spoil it. We were trying to keep a bit of a spoiler.
They were zombies the whole time.
It was. Oh my god, I can't believe it. It was a really, really good film.
Very good.
I didn't know what to make of it, I'll be honest. And I knew what to make of it. I was enjoying myself, but the inside of me wanted to know exactly what the fucking point of the story was. There's a lot of character building in it.
There is, yeah. I mean, it's a lot of I thought at first, the first sort of half of the film, it was really good. It was really funny. The kids, the main characters are basically the kids. There's the one kid, Mooney, and then her sort of friends, and those are sort of your main cast of characters with Willem Dafoe and the mom and everything in there as well. But all the kid bits were really fun, but I felt at first they were just made as little bits for fun. Here's a scene where they're swearing. Here's a scene where they're begging for money. Yeah. Here's a scene where they're doing something funny.
But the accumulation of it all kind of added to what what kind of situation that the characters found themselves in.
Exactly. The more it happened, the more coherent it was.
Yeah.
So at first it just felt like random bits to maybe elicit laughs and stuff like that, because it was almost like a comedy at the start, and then by the end of it, you know what it's all about, and it makes sense in building those characters and relationships.
I think the fact that where they set it, I mean, we're trying to not give away too much about the plot, but basically it kind of follows a young mum and her child in a Kissimmee kind of motel, and
it's kind of a weird situation, because I guess this is a common thing, especially in areas like that, but it was obviously a motel that was built sort of around Orlando. What was the town? It was Kissimmee,
yeah.
Kissimmee, Florida. So just outside of Orlando, so to probably get those tourist bucks. And then after a while, the big mega hotels go up where people would more likely stay. So they take these old rundown motels and they sort of rent them out for weeks at a time to lower income people who, not the best people, I think.
Well, just, for whatever, reason. And I think a lot of this was down to, her story, the main, the mum in it kind of found herself, she's young, she's looking after her kid and stuff. And kind of at the start of the film, you learn that she's sort of been laid off from her job, which I think was just dancing. So you kind of see where her moral compass is at that moment. I thought it just really worked well because of the fact where it was set, and then the kids would be out playing and they'd see like a helicopter, giving a helicopter tour that you can get on that kind of like Kissimmee strip.
Passing all like the little tour of all the little shit shops, like the souvenir shops and like the Orange Palace and the ice cream. Everything was shaped like what it was selling.
It really old, kind of dated and stuff, but knowing that Disney is, and like the sort of the wealth is kind of looming. There's a scene where they're kind of outside a golf, kind of like a golf resort, a golf kind of club and hotel and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's kind of spelled out for you the gap, I guess, and the wealth gap between sort of the characters that we're following and sort of the surrounding, and the fact that like a lot of people just go to Florida and then just pass through and go on holiday and come out, but a lot of people have to actually live in.
I feel sorry for those people.
Yeah, man, that was a shithole.
Because I mean that's one thing that the film sort of hammers home as well, is like Florida's gross. It's hot, it's muggy, it's got a lot of just rundown bits, big deadly creatures like alligators running around.
Dog the Bounty Hunter.
There you go. And outside of like those few precious acres of like Magic Kingdom and all that sort of crap, the rest of it's a shithole.
And there is a good scene where a couple kind of mistake the motel for something that Disney would be offering and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's you can. Because you see it through the eyes of Mooney, the young girl, you kind of are always with her, kind of like I guess she doesn't fully understand what's going on a lot of the time, but she's quite aware of it, and it's interesting. The film does put you in a kind of a moral dilemma, as if you were. I don't know how to best say it. I don't want to spoil it. It puts you in a moral quandary because. You are aware of the issues. You are aware, though, that maybe she's, the little kid's not being looked after certain ways.
Yeah, it's a bad situation. It's not a situation like you'd want to, say, find yourself in as a kid, or you'd want to put a child of your own in.
But they're all making kind of the best of the situation. And it seems to be a bit of a...
They've got their routine.
Yeah.
The kids are having their fun, and for the most part, like, there's never that sort of threat or that danger where you're like, because as much as it does seem like negligence in a sense from parents, but it's like that low income thing where it's not necessarily negligence, it's just what they need to do to survive. There's never a danger from it. Like, it all works. All this like random stuff that we would see as wrong clicks together and works. Like there's a little community vibe, and all the kids do what they do together, and for the most part that they're safe when they do it, even though the film shows some of the
seedier
sides
of that kind of, and that kind of, again, it's a lot like the way the whole thing of Orlando is like a kind of a dumping ground for tourists. You kind of see how even that kind of the people who are on that kind of wealth become kind of a dumping ground for people who are above that and stuff, or who are in a better money situation. But it's really good. Like, I mean, Willem Dafoe was okay. Like,
really like this character.
I don't think there was much for him.
There wasn't much for him to do, but the bits that he did were really good, and like there were like hints of a bigger story for him that for one reason or another didn't follow through with.
Yeah. It was a really good character. Like, I felt that I felt like he'd been there for like, the past 20 years or something, or, maybe he's just found himself in this kind of position, but the character has so much warmth to him, and you could tell he would genuinely kind of cared about his patch, and they do that obviously in more subtle ways with like his interactions with certain characters, but then also there's like a scene where he kind of takes more of a charge of a situation in order to sort of protect the community and stuff, and seeing the pressure that he's got from because he's the manager of the
Magic Kingdom? Was it Magic Castle?
Magic Castle. He's like and I honestly really like those like tacky, like looks like a castle, and it's a real place as well. So
I want to go stay. I mean, I don't
want to stay there.
I mean, maybe those kind of people don't stay there though.
They probably might just be just like some.
But it was painted nice.
I
give them that, yeah.
It was like a nice purple.
Because the other place they go to, the little future rocket ship place, like was run down. Whereas that, like, Willem Dafoe took pride in painting it.
Yeah, so he's obviously I really just loved his kind of interaction. It felt like every time he spoke to someone in this, you knew that he knew them, kind of thing. And I guess, I don't know, like, there's obviously right now it's always been a big push by people who are dreaming of like a time that doesn't exist anymore, like, oh, when you used to be able to leave your door open and you know you knew all your neighbours and everything. But actually that still exists, but it's just not at like the, I guess in America, that's sort of like the wealth level that we're used to seeing portrayed. This was a lot more of a working class, I guess. I'm not sure what Americans would be the version of it.
I mean, that seemed, yeah. I mean, that sort of area of Florida and stuff. I don't have a load of experience with it. I've driven through it a lot as a kid, but
you could drive as a kid.
I did, yeah. I was behind the wheel from when I was 4 years old.
They allowed 4-year-olds to drive when you were 4, though.
No, they allowed us to have guns, so like, you know, why not? But yeah, it's like that. It's working class, even lower than that in those sort of areas. It's almost like stepping into an episode of Breaking Bad. Some of the stuff in that, like the characters you see in the film, like, and I think that goes well with how the characters were like written and made, or like casted, because obviously you've got like, you know, everyone's tattooed up, everybody's got like, there's a certain look, isn't there?
There is, but it's interesting watching like. And I guess we're all, you know, everyone is of that kind of thing where no matter what your situation is, you kind of adapt to enjoy yourself. So there's even just times where it's like, we get, you know, like Mooney and a mum are kind of like just listening to music and just dancing around. And there's nothing like malicious or untoward or anything. They're just dancing around, and it's like, you know, forget about your troubles and whatever. Forget about like the rent demands and everything. I mean, the kid. Fucking hell, she was amazing in it. Like when you actually step back and think about the entire plot of it, she's
unreal. Like,
yeah, she took so much on.
I feel like that might have been her in real life and her mom in real life, and they just grabbed him and said, "We'll give you some money. You be in this film," because like you wouldn't know she was acting or anything, and like just some of the things, like some of the little facial expressions were just like genuine things, like. She'd like, you know, if somebody was saying you couldn't do that or something, she'd just give this like really genuine, like sort of what the fuck kind of face. Like, can't really visualize that here, but
there wasn't a fear of adults at all. To, you know, her detriment, you know, maybe in other situations that they might try and find themselves in, but there was just I guess because like the character isn't protected, or the little girl hasn't been protected a lot during her life and stuff, so. She's had to try and like, you know, find her own way, and she's very street smart, you could say. Yeah,
I was gonna say as well. The one of the good things I liked about Willem Dafoe's part as well was like it'd be really easy to write that part and just make him be this like overly kind guy, you know, like the sweetheart of it, the good guy, blah blah blah. And in a sense he was, but it was still had the realism about it. Like he'd still do it needed to be done. Like. You know, he would make the hard calls and he would kick people out if they needed to be, and you know, if they, you know, weren't paying their rent or doing something wrong, he'd let them know. Like he wasn't a pushover.
No, but he had a sort of it's a heart of gold kind of thing.
Yeah. He's great, and he's all wrinkly as well. There's that one bit when you see the wrinkles on the back of his neck.
It looked like a face, didn't it?
It was gross. It was like he was winking at me.
It was like the Harry Potter one, you know.
Do you think his character came? So he came from the Grand Budapest Hotel and like just got a downgrade.
I mean, I've never seen the Grand Budapest Hotel. So
yeah, well, you've got your own demons.
I don't really watch Wes Anderson films.
Well, there you go.
If I wanted to see something flat on, I'd watch a cartoon.
Well, have you ever watched his cartoon? Can't wait for his new one.
Ooh. Oh, the Isle of Dogs.
It's about dogs. I like dogs. You see.
You do.
I really do. There wasn't a dog in this film.
Was the dog again, by the way?
There was a dog in the first film, though.
Was there?
Yeah.
What was the first one we watched?
Sacred Deer. I was going to say, actually, this is bringing it back up to Killing of a Sacred Deer. That dog got off really easy. He was just sauntering around the house. That was a family member.
Yes, and we're trying to, again, not spoil this, but that was a family member.
It was a family member. And we'll just leave it at that.
Leave it at that.
If we want to hear
it clicked in me very early on. I was like, all I have to say is like, hey, this dog's a member of the family. And
I mean, my family, my dog's the closest member. It's a family of one.
Okay. Wait, what?
Yeah. Well,
There's your partner. I guess.
We don't take any further below the surface than where we are.
Okay.
Yeah. But the Florida project. What do you think of, like, I thought it was shot really well.
Yeah.
It's so hard nowadays when you talk about films to say something was shot well or something was shot poorly, because everything's shot, unless it's like a
Life Imitation was not shot well.
Well, that was, yeah. But, you know, you'd have to really mess up to release a film nowadays that wasn't shot like a narrative film that wasn't shot well. And, you know, it had everything looked nice.
They so to the benefit of them for that, if there's, you know, it's shot well, of course it was shot well. It's in fucking festivals. It's in, you know, it's on general release and stuff. It's got a big actor in it. The colour and the choice of colour to kind of make it more cartoonish. It kind of played to, like, the young girl and her friends, kind of like, you know, it was their playground essentially. And I think that kind of came across when it would show, like, wide shots of, like, a gift shop that's like a wizard, or like a big ice cream cone. It's like living in a cartoon. It's like living in a dream. But, you know, unlike sort of Disney down the road, which is, you know, billed as like a dream place, this is kind of like the dream on a budget. And I just thought that was a really smart way, because you'd follow the people around mostly, but the wide shots would be when they were walking, and it was just kind of establish.
I think, like, thinking back on it, it feels like a lot of the shots were, like, we were down to the kids level, so we were sort of in with the kids, so, like, close-up shots or shots of them talking, obviously it was low down, but then I feel like when we had shots of the adults, like the parents or like Willem Dafoe or something, I almost feel like a lot of the shots were shot downward up.
Yeah.
I might just completely be making that up, but when I think about it, that's what I remember.
Yeah.
And it goes off that cartoony thing, like you're brought into the kids' world, like you're never brought in too much to all the adults' worlds.
Yeah.
Which is, I guess, the point. Like, you're not, you know what the mom's doing, but you don't see what the mom's doing. You sort of get Willem Dafoe, but you don't see anything too much deeper than that. Like, the kids are always there, in a sense. Like, you're always hovering around them. There's very few, like, little singular scenes where you just go off with the adults.
And I think, like, and that's good, because you kind of left, like, the kid, you're kind of, like, wondering, like, what's going on. If you can kind of relate it to Killing the Sacred Deer, there is a shot in that, like, going through doorways where it's kind of above human height, so that's kind of like you're looking down upon sort of the situation, so you can kind of flip that. I actually thought a lot of it as well had the Florida project was, I could see a bit of like City of God in it. The way that's like City of God is like set in like that little shoal in Brazil and stuff like that, and
just basically Florida.
So it's just as warm,
hot, humid, killer things around.
Bees,
yeah, alligators, bees, snakes,
guns.
It's basically like Australia, but in America.
Yeah, well, that's a good
only
point.
with guns.
Yeah, a lot of City of God, the way like the kind of the kids grow up in that very strange kind of like, you know, I hate to use the term like concrete jungle and everything, but like when they're young it's kind of open and there's a lot of exploration and stuff, and it's like kids coming of age by themselves at their own pace rather than kind of being brought up during the system like, you know, a lot of people in like the cities and stuff would. Like, wait, City of God is a city. I mean, kind of more like westernized, wealthier.
Like Blazing Saddles.
Sure. Yes. But no.
Good, the Bad, and the Ugly?
Yeah, it's a lot like...
Oh, okay.
I guess... Have you seen City of God?
I've heard of it.
I would recommend it.
Yeah, well, is it playing at the London Film Festival?
It was probably playing at a London Film Festival, whether it was at that one or not.
Maybe a double bill with the Florida Project, City of God and the Florida Project.
Oh, I don't.
Do you think that
so.
would be quite intense?
I mean, you'd probably have to put Florida Project on first.
What, is City of God the downer?
Oh yeah.
So when I want to watch that first.
Oh yeah, I guess
you want the downer first, because like the end of Florida Project again. We're not spoiling it. No, even though it's out technically in a wide release.
We'll do another one.
But it's we could do. It's sort of cheery, the whole film.
Yeah.
Like, there are bits, and then, like, at the end, there's a bit when I'm like, oh man, this could go one of two ways. This could go me leaving the cinema with a smile on my face, or me having to, like, hide my face for a bit until the lights came up and wipe away some things, because it was quite dusty, you see.
Oh, okay, I see.
But it never got to that point. The dust never settled.
I think it's because, you know, with certain stuff in it, there is like a little bit of an ambiguity about, like, oh, what did that mean? Where did that? I wonder what happened, that kind of thing. And it's like a you decide sort of thing. There's not much you can say wrong about it. It was a good film.
Yeah, it was just solid. And it's, you know, makes me want to go track down again. Like The Killing of a Sacred Deer, it makes me want to go track down the director Sean Baker's other bits. I Miss Tangerine, I think we were talking about it a bit.
Yeah.
It's the one that was shot on the iPhone 5S. And I think it was that very a similar style, tone, and world.
Yeah.
That sort of, like the LA underbelly of like low class to poor people and getting on, and of course someone could be like, that's not what Tangerine's about at all. That's what I gathered. That they both look the same. They both look like they pull from the same well of characters.
Yeah.
Which I suppose it's one of those things where, like the guy who did Killing of a Sacred Deer, how it was similar but different to The Lobster.
Yeah.
The same way this is probably similar but different to Tangerine. You kind of hope the next ones aren't similar but different. You want to see them go outside their comfort zone.
Yeah.
And I guess I'd agree. Like, who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows? It's a film.
What would you rate out of the 3 films you've seen today?
How would I rate them?
How would you rate them?
Well, Life Imitation.
Yeah?
Straight at the top.
Straight at the top
of the shit pile.
Oh, he got us.
I burned you. No, it wasn't terrible, but yeah, it's obviously the least favorite film that I saw today. I don't feel any need to actually watch it again.
Yeah.
Like you say, I'd give the director another chance, because it's making a film, it's experimenting, it shows that he had some ingenuity. Hopefully next time it works a bit better. It is a close tie-up in the second for the second one. I think I liked Sacred Deer best, but it's very close, and they both obviously give you completely different feelings.
Yeah.
I'd probably watch the Florida Project again. Like, I'd take the Florida Project, and I'd want to go show that to like my girlfriend straight away.
Yeah.
Be like, hey, I saw the Florida Project, and we've got to go see it. Like, whenever there's a chance. Sacred Deer, I mean, I know she liked The Lobster, but it'd be a bit different, and just be like, ooh, yeah, you'd probably like this, but I'd show more people Florida Project.
Okay.
But I'd take the Sacred Deer as my own personal solo experience, and be like, I think I like that. I like the responses it was eliciting from me throughout the film, whereas Florida Project I was just like smiling and laughing and generally having a good time and carrying on with the characters. Sacred Deer, it was like every sort of emotion, it was like a little roller coaster. Like, oh, I'm laughing, ooh, I'm nervous, alright, now I feel sick, so yeah.
And that's all just with the music as well.
That was it. All the sound design just like beat me into a bloody pulp.
Now you feel sad? It's like, yes, okay.
So how about you?
Very much the same. I mean, I think it's important to see the Florida Project, whereas I think it's very enjoyable to watch Killing of a Sacred Deer, but I don't feel it's as important from a learning standpoint. I guess it's really well done, and I think Killing of a Sacred Deer, if you would like to watch one or the other again, I'd watch Killing of a Sacred Deer. But I feel like there's probably, maybe because Killing of a Sacred Deer is more of a detached kind of, not otherworldly, it's not, but like, you know, a bit of a stranger story, a bit more removed from reality, that you can kind of like, I'll skip this one. I think it's kind of important from a cultural standpoint to see the Florida Project, because maybe you've not really seen that kind of lifestyle played out on screen. it's one of my biggest gripes about like British films and stuff nowadays, and a lot of actors who are like the only voice in British film now is basically posh. It's privately educated, it's received pronunciation. You're not going to have someone come up now who's like a Robert Carlyle or something like that, who's just like, all people who like, transition from TV, who isn't like a Benedict Cumberbatch. That's one of my biggest gripes about films, and it's a lot of the time it's like, oh, it's British film, but it's set in the 16th century, and it's
Keira Knightley's kicking around.
Keira Knightley.
She's playing a duchess.
Yes, with Jack Sparrow, and
you best start believing in period pieces, Miss Turner.
I'm in loads. He's in the what's the train one he's in? Johnny Depp.
Oh, Murder at the Orient Express. Yeah.
Tempted to watch it in spite of him.
I really liked the trailer for that, and then
it's a good trailer.
Yeah, but then hello. I think I'm dying. Oh,
it's the producer. They give us a red light.
There's like a big physical. So what were you saying?
No, I'm just saying I think it's culturally quite important to watch the Florida Project because being British and stuff, and knowing a lot of people. In fact, I met a guy on a job
today at McDonald's.
Yes. Oh my God, we'll have to talk about that.
No, that is.
I met a guy on a job a few weeks ago, and he was like, "Oh, where have you been in America?" And I was like, "He was like, you've been to Florida?" And I was like, "Yeah." Like, I mean, that's where we all go. It's like, because it's such a distance away that it becomes a thing of like, we're going to go to America, pretty much either New York City. No one's going to Utica. Sorry.
A couple people.
Get lost up to Niagara Falls
in the connecting flight.
You either you go to New York, you go to Florida, you go to California. Do you know what I mean? There's only like the kind of three big places. Texas maybe, but
weird people.
Vegas. People are like swimming. No one's going to Vegas right now.
All right. I mean, I was trying to be positive. Yeah,
but Florida is such a big thing to British people in a weird way. And I think you're only shown the good bits, and it's a lot of American cinema and British cinema. You're only shown the good bits,
and it's such a small little bit,
little tiny bit.
Because Florida's massive,
but it's not actually a real.
And the rest of it's terrible.
Yeah.
It's just horrible. Manufactured.
It's crap.
Disney World, Epcot Center, Universal Studios. There you go. That's what the people come to see.
Yeah.
But the rest of it is terrible.
Yeah.
It's just disgusting. Like, you go there and everybody just looks moist. Everybody just looks hot and moist. And this continues in the long line of my hatred for that little state. I don't know why people like it. I mean, I like Universal Studios.
Well, because of the studios.
But it's been...
It's the theme parks. And
it's
hot.
Obviously.
And, like, a lot of British people love the heat.
I had a friend who lived there, and I went and visited him for a week, and we drove down.
Was he 80?
No. He was my age, which is 70. But yeah, all we did...
without having to do it.
He lived, like, a 2-hour drive away from Orlando.
Yeah.
So, literally every day, because he took the week off, we'd wake up, drive to Orlando, go to Universal Studios, and drive back and go to bed. Because there's nothing to do where he was from in, like, Daytona. And then, of course, what happened? Florida got me in the end. Missed my flight, had to get a bus home. A bus from Florida to New York.
Oh my, how long does that take?
All in all, with all the stops and layovers at bus stations and stuff and switches, like 36 hours.
Oh my God.
When, yeah.
It's a continent.
And that's what happens. The sparkling bits, the theme parks, they get you, because we thought we had another day, and we were just at Universal Studios, and me and my friend were riding the roller coaster, like, this is the best time of my life. And then I even remember the last day, we were on the roller coaster, or we was like on the slow climb.
Yeah.
I saw like an airplane going over, like, look at those suckers having to leave this place, eh? We should have been on a plane that day.
You realize that paradise is...
And this was when I had very little money. At first, we thought we might just have to live at my friend's house in Florida for a while and get jobs.
Yeah.
Like, sorry. Yeah.
I mean, it could have been worse.
Hypnotic.
It could have been like with Pinocchio when he goes to whatever Universal Studios they end up at. And then he ends up as a donkey.
It's kind of weird that there's
Pleasure Island.
Pinocchio in two things, isn't it?
What?
Because Pinocchio is obviously in Disney World and stuff, running around. But there's a Pinocchio in Universal because of, like, the Shrek ride.
There is, yes.
So that's quite weird.
Yeah, and
do you think they ever see each other at, like, weird little Orlando parties?
Like a nose off.
Ooh. We know what they're doing with their noses, don't we?
Yes.
It's checking if each other are hollow or not. Oh boy! I mean, that's more.
That was Mickey.
That was Mickey. But he's the ringleader. Like
I love that bit in Fantasia. Do you ever watch Fantasia?
Yeah.
When like it cuts back to after one of like the big pieces, and like the conductor's there, and like Mickey comes up, he's like, Mr. Kokoski, Mr. Kokoski, and then he's like looks down, he's like, Mickey. I love that bit. I've probably watched Fantasia more than anyone should have.
I actually thought that the Florida Project was going to be Fantasia 3.
Oh, that would have been good.
Imagine.
Fantasia 3000.
Why do people hate on Fantasia 2000?
Because Fantasia number 1 was fucking mint.
Yeah, but like Fantasia 2000 wasn't terrible. It just wasn't as good. It's like, you know, it's like most sequels that let you down a tiny bit.
Yeah.
They're still fine movies.
More sequels should have been 2000.
Yeah, loads. Why weren't there many?
I don't know. There's that kebab place in Bethnal Green, which is like
Chicken Cottage 2000.
No, it's like, is it?
It's like Chicken 2000.
It's got a 2000 in it.
Yeah,
it's right next to the sun.
Yeah, they've not changed it in a while.
They were just waiting for the next 900 to fucking 80 years or whatever it is.
So I guess we both gave Florida Project big thumbs up. Killing of a Sacred Goat. Go. I keep saying go.
Sequel.
Deer. Yeah. We'll sell it to you, Harvey. I mean, Killing of a Sacred Deer, 2 thumbs up. And
so I wanted to think about the London Film Festival. What did you think about that guy at the start of today?
So we got down to London.
Yeah.
Right, it was 8 o'clock in the morning. That's where we met, with the first film slated to start at 9. Got a little brekkie.
I thought the first film was at 8:15, so I was shitting myself.
Yeah.
I got out, looked at, and I was like, oh no.
I was just like, because I thought we had to queue for like 15 minutes beforehand, and I wanted a little breakfast.
I did not queue whatsoever today, just walked in.
Just walked in like kings of the castle. I wouldn't say we had any good seats today, but they weren't bad seats.
No, I mean, the massage my neck.
Yeah. But yeah, we went to McDonald's and we had a little powwow, you know, we'll have our breakfast.
We were going to film a little intro.
We were going to film an intro in a McDonald's of all places.
But it was still, like, quite, you know, there was no one there.
No one was there. It was just us in the downstairs bit in the Leicester Square McDonald's.
Yeah. If you want to picture the scene.
Yeah, go there. It's weird. It's up class. And you can order from downstairs. So if you walk in, don't get taken in by those upstairs ordering machines. Go straight downstairs, and they'll deliver it right to your table.
Exactly.
So we're sitting there and having our little breakfast, taking the camera out, looking at the camera, just seeing if we can get any shots.
Comparing how bad our tripods were.
Yeah, which they're terrible. I would like to... Who makes this tripod?
Joby.
Yeah, Joby can go and
this isn't Joby.
do a Joby.
Oh, it is Joby. This
one. Joby can go F their B's.
I mean, Rolio were pretty bad, but...
Rolio sounds like a candy.
Rolio must die is... what I mean. But we were sat there
looking at the camera, and then we got into a...
Well, we were like both kind of like... I could feel the conversation going like, all right, well, we're going to now film.
Yeah.
And then, as if by magic, a man appeared.
He wasn't there a second ago,
no.
And then he was. And
I had a wide shot of the entire place, and he just appeared from nowhere.
I still think he wasn't actually there, and we were just listening to nothing.
But he was like, he was kind of well dressed a little bit, like casual, smart casual kind of thing.
I'd like to consider him a sage individual.
Yes. He had a wizard's cloak on. No, he had like a little tissue and he kept patting his mouth.
Maybe that's why people don't like him.
He kept saying how nobody likes him, and he was like...
But he was very well spoken.
Yeah, he was, and he was like, you guys work in film? I'm like, no. Do you want to be on the podcast? and here he is.
Hello.
No, he's just weird. He was a weird bloke, and he was asking us all about like work, and then he was like... Then he just talked to us. Talked at us. That's the perfect way to put it, yeah. And he was telling us about, like, do we know who made McDonald's? Do we know the truth?
And then I thought he worked for McDonald's. Yeah. And then he said, how much do you know about McDonald's? I'm like, just what I know from that Michael Keaton movie.
He did not like that.
He did not like that. And that's why I thought he worked for McDonald's. Yeah. And then I thought he was going to invite us to join the McDonald's cult. And luckily, because it was getting pretty much crunch time, I kept looking at my phone. I'm like, someone's going to have to pull the plug on this. And I was like, is it going to be me or Adam?
And it was him.
And it was him. He's like, right, I've got to go. Didn't have any food.
Did not have any food. Did talk about how he had no job. and he was like kind of hard up right now and stuff, and we were like, oh, it's tough, man, yeah, we've all been there kind of thing. And I did not see him go up the stairs either. He just disappeared. Oh, man. Your ears moved then, that was weird.
What if he's behind me, like, pushing it? I'm telling you, if you're out there, if you're listening to this podcast, strange man from McDonald's, we'd like to get you on for an interview.
Yes. Just don't come to our house.
No.
Bezzies.
I mean, he might haunt it. There's a theory going around that he's a ghost.
We'll meet you at the Jinx studio.
Well, the theory is that either he's a ghost or that we're ghosts.
Yeah, I might have died.
This might be a dream.
We did see Rich today from...
But, like, who's heard from Rich in ages?
Exactly.
Rich has basically died. He's gone to Birmingham.
Oh, no.
Ooh, and if you're listening to this, woo! So, yeah, that was a strange start to the day. So, London Film Festival now wrapping up. A couple more days left.
Yeah.
I think you said you might try to get down in a day or two to catch a few more things.
Yeah, I might even try the early Sunday one, which I don't remember what it was.
Anything so far that has stuck out that you've missed that you may have wanted to see?
Yes, I really wanted to see... I think we spoke on a previous podcast. I really wanted to see Funny Cow, the Maxine Peake film, and that was on Sunday. I was supposed to.
Last Sunday.
Yeah. I had a day planned out, and then my girlfriend got work that day, so she was left, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm gonna have a day by myself. Oh shit! This Maxine Peake film, Maxine, Funny Cow starts at 2. Shit, I'll just go to that, and then. I basically got really ill and couldn't leave bed.
And that'll teach you?
Except to shit, which was a lot.
Ah, there it is.
So, I'm really annoyed with myself that I didn't go to that. And I'm not even sure. I think the only other screening where I could have chanced my luck on doing like the rush queue was like at 3 o'clock on like a Wednesday. And I was like, oh, that's not going to happen. So I'm bitterly disappointed about that.
You should be.
I am.
Yeah, good.
Don't
let it always haunt you.
Don't get it twisted.
It should haunt your soul until the day you die.
Until I watch it on general release.
It's never coming to general release. Hate to break it to you.
What?
They said once it's done playing at the festival, they're going to burn every copy.
Really?
Yep.
Even all those people who are like here specifically to buy films.
Pretty much.
Okay.
They want to buy it to destroy it.
Oh, like that E.T. game?
Yeah. That's it. They're burying all the films in the Nevada desert.
But it's all just on one like disc. So
it's just a hard drive. It's just a lacy hard drive that they're kicking about.
What about you? Is there anything you missed and you wanted to see it? How would you go about the festival next year if you were going to go to it?
Well, 2 films that I want to see. They're big ones, so I knew it would be an issue trying to see them. But Lucky and The Shape of Water.
Yeah.
Good thing is with those big films is probably be able to see those sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
On a general release. I mean, Shape of Water, I think, is going to be released really soon, and Lucky's probably going to be right behind it, ready for awards season, all that sort of stuff. I'm trying. There weren't any other ones that really jumped out at me that I can think of, but I just know next year, first of all, I would get the week straight, so I would, because when we went to see the film on Tuesday, I thought this was the first week of the festival, and I had a whole week next week to watch films. Turned out, not the case. No. This is the last few days.
Yes.
I would book some more time off.
Yeah.
I'd probably book like a day or two each week.
Yeah.
And not have to deal with the rush queue system, because going in as the press delegates, just walking in the morning, going to see 2 or 3 films in a day, it's a pretty solid, good use of it.
Yeah.
And like today, I'd still sort of like to do what happened today, where we sort of knew a film or 2 that we wanted to see and took a punt on another, and like it didn't pay off today, but I'm sure it would pay off once or twice in the future.
Yeah.
So that's how I'd probably go about it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm just impressed that there are a lot of people who aren't doing like the press kind of thing, who are just flat out, the minute the tickets are released, they buy all the tickets and they're kind of set for the week. Just really impressed by the dedication that people have to watching films and stuff. And I really think that, like, you know, we've only done a full day.
Yeah, some people have done like, the whole thing. The
whole thing, you know, like mentioning before, like Rich from Big Face Small Razor.
Sometimes I want to say small face, big razor, but that wouldn't work.
It confuses me sometimes.
But it's big face, small razor.
It is. He has done a lot of days here. I think he's done like 6 in a row.
And full ones as well.
And full days and stuff. So it's and you know it's really, I don't know about you, but I kind of feel like a little bit of an imposter sometimes when we were in there.
Oh yeah, we don't belong.
We were just walking around.
I feel like everybody knows each other and then we don't. Like they're all like, oh there he is, he's from Slash Film. Oh there he is, he's from Coming Soon.
Yeah.
Ah, from Collider over there. I mean all these guys are, everyone there look like a but like, we're not getting invited to any film press parties anytime soon.
Was there an after party somewhere? Could we
have
attended an after party tomorrow?
I take it back. Everybody there looked amazing.
Yeah.
And high members of society, all the Cumberbatches of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, kicking about.
It'll be interesting if we do this next year.
I think as long as I'm in London and I've got the money, I'll definitely go for it next year.
Yeah.
Get those things set in advance. It was a bit of a rush to do it, last minute rush, but we made it in the end.
We did,
and we got a good solid few films under our belt for it.
We did
for our payments to the cause.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's been nice.
London Film Festival. They're loving it. They had a great time at London Film Festival.
We're doing it in front of a live studio audience, like Keenan and Cal.
Yeah.
Or should I say Keenan?
Or we could do it like Whose Line Is It Anyway? Let's have a suggestion how we should end it with a song. What's the theme?
Call your song.
Okay. And we're not gonna do that. So yeah, see you next year.
Yeah. Please follow us on Twitter, which is @Filmageddon Quiz.
That's not a joke.
It can be. And then our YouTube, which would be very nice. Filmageddon.co.uk.
Yeah, and come to the quiz.
Oh yeah, come to the quiz.
The Halloween quiz.
Yes, it's a Halloween quiz. If you listen to this afterwards, it doesn't matter, but this will be up before it.
This will be up before it.
Yeah, we're doing a Halloween quiz, 24th of October.
The Bloodening.
The Bloodening, apparently, is the
Coming
title.
Out. Yeah, it is.
Oh yeah, you made it up. Okay,
I
that's
did,
okay.
yeah.
I thought it was one that was imposed upon us, but I remember seeing the email.
It ties in with the theme of our costumes. And that's all I'm saying about that.
Yeah, you should wear a costume though, because it's going to be a little costume competition.
Yeah, and if you're not, you might have a chance to wear a costume.
We'll see.
And again, that's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah. Well,
goodbye.
it's 'cause now.
Okay.